Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be showing you how to create an outline within just about any single shape. Now I'll be using Photoshop for this process. Photoshop is not free to use. For the photography plan, it's between 20 to 25 per month. For the student plan, which you get the entire suite, it's about 30. And if you aren't a student, it's about $60 for everything. So it's definitely not a cheap software. Now there are alternatives out there, and normally I'd recommend Photopea, but Photopea would not work for this technique. So getting right into this, I'll be using a heart for this example, but just about any single shape you can think of will also work. There might be a few exceptions. If there are some really tight turns or inlets within the shape, then this might not work as well, but for most things it should turn out fine. So we have our initial shape here. I'm going to start out by control clicking the shape little thumbnail in the layer section, and while holding Alt and scrolling in, we can see that the shape is now completely outlined. Now I'm going to go to select, modify, contract, and the amount you contract by is going to vary depending on the size of your image. In this case, I probably want around 27 pixels because this is a large icon, but again, this could vary for your, or definitely will vary for your individual use scenario, so you have to test around with this a bit. But okay, now you can see the selection has moved in, and we're going to come over now to this left side and to our rectangular marquee tool. If it is not the one here, hold down the left mouse button, you'll see more options, and simply move up to rectangular marquee and you are fine. And then I'm going to right click right at the border and choose make work path. And tolerance, it's going to again vary depending on the complexity of your image. In this case, I probably want around 10. But as you can see, once I click OK, I'm still going to have to make adjustments to it because it's still a fair bit outside of the initial guide. So I'm going to create a new layer, go over to the left, and I simply click the plus button in the corner here to create a new layer. Then I'm going to go to the pen tool on the left, move inside by holding Alt and scrolling, and I'm going to hold Control and then click and drag here in the center to first fix the initial curve right at the center of the heart. Then I'm going to go look over on the right side, scroll out, take a look. It's a little messy here, but I'm not too big on getting this specific one perfect. Again, depending on what you are editing, it could take a lot of time to get this down perfect. Now on this left side here, I'm going to make some adjustments. I'm going to click on the edge here, then hold Control, and then drag this in. Initially what I did is create a new anchor that lets me move the entire outline how I want it to look. So I drag that in, and that kind of helped fix it a little bit. Again, I'm Control dragging it with my mouse, maybe put this one out a bit over here, and the problem actually seems to be there, so I might add one more and then drag that over, and that is a bit better. Now I'm going to go to the top, click shape, and a new shape has been created on my work path. As you can see, it's still a little messy because I didn't spend the extra 5 minutes it would take to make it perfect, but you get the general gist of how this should work. Now with my shape created, I'm going to go over to the left and go to my rectangle tool, though really this should work with any of these, doesn't really matter as long as you're on one of these shape tools. Go to the top, disable the fill, go to the stroke, enable the stroke. Currently the stroke is at 0 pixels, that's why you do not see anything. So let's maybe move this up to 5. Alright, then go over here to our stroke options, turn on the dotted line, because for this example I'll be using the dotted line. But again, if this is all you wanted, just an outline, then this is where you could end. But if you want to add a dotted line, then here you go. If you want to round the edges of each of the dots, we go to the caps and then choose the second option. As you can see, it's now rounded. If the gap in between is too narrow or too distant, you can adjust it by clicking more options and increasing the gap or decreasing it. But at this point, it's basically a solid line again, so not really that helpful here. But again, this is also going to vary depending on your image size. Click OK, and then here we go. Again, it'll take a bit more tinkering around with this to get it perfect. This one here seems to have merged with the one below it to create a bigger dash than normal. But that's the general gist of how to create a dashed outline or any kind of outline inside your image that actually fits the border and shape of your image itself. If you found this helpful, please make sure to like and subscribe, and other than that, hope you have an awesome day.